Yeah.
So that was really, yeah, it was completely on the nose. But
Yeah.
that's what's cool. Again, you're making, every year we'd make another 40 stories,
Yeah.
and
That's
so
amazing.
you get a chance to do anything. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I want to move on to the episode "School Play" because this I think sticks out in a lot of people's minds because it was it the first episode where you couldn't actually see it, but it was actually the first episode where Arnold and Helga actually kissed.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I mean,
Yeah.
what was the episode? I mean, what was the idea? I mean, were you building up that episode for a long time, or did it just happen to come in?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to. Every season, we would have to take the Helga obsession to another level. Every year I'd want something kind of further to develop, and so it seemed like that was a big deal for Helga to kiss Arnold, and I love the payoff of that. It's a half-hour special, so it's a longer episode, and you really build the tension to when she kisses him, and then of course the fact that it goes on and on and on, and Mr. Simmons looks at his watch, and the score is really funny. It's one of my favorite scores, that one, and uh, it's it was really I love that one. It was really fun to stretch that out to a longer story because first of all, Romeo and Juliet's such a great play, and we love Shakespeare, and the all kids generally in middle school, but all kids have to read Romeo and Juliet at some point in their school education, and so we knew that they'd all be familiar with the story. One of the things that's funny too is for a kid audience, if they haven't heard of some, classic story yet, they might see that classic story quoted in Hey Arnold first before they ever get to the real deal. And that always makes me laugh. I always like the idea of we'll rip off some favorite scene from a movie or a TV show, and then kids will see the real deal later in their life and go, "Hey, I saw it on Hey Arnold," and then get it wrong. They'll think it's the other way around. But anyway, I really love Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
It's a great play, and
Yeah, I'm sorry to go backwards, but was that the inspiration behind the episode "What's Opera Arnold"? Because basically,
yeah, oh, absolutely. And again, I grew up on the Bugs Bunny cartoons, which often quoted classical music, and that was the first place I heard all those pieces of classical music was Saturday morning cartoons, watching Bugs Bunny, and it's the same thing. I thought, well, great, we'll introduce kids to Carmen. And there was a little Mozart in there, and there was a little I forget. There were several pieces of classical music in there, and I thought, how cool when they finally hear Carmen, they'll be in their mind they'll be humming the lyrics to What's Opera Arnold, and that's what we get to do. Again, it's because it's TV and it reaches millions of people and you have this power, so I that's why we did the opera, and that's why we did school play.
yeah,
Also, I would say that we were always looking for a chance to do another episode where the kids put on a show, because those are always a fun act structure. School play is perfect because the third act is the play,
yeah,
and it's just Downtown is Fruits, and Eugene. Basically those are all stories where in Act Three they're going to, you'll know Act Three starts because you see that shot where they're outside PS 118 and the Klieg lights are going and there's a little
yeah,
sign saying tonight, and so we love that stuff. And the school play is particularly funny, I think, because the middle act is Helga is taking out all the other Juliets one by one, and she's hilarious about it. She's so evil,
yeah.
She's one of those where she has a big scene where she says, perfect, and she like lays out her whole plan, and then she laughs maniacally and
Yeah,
and
I was gonna say
chokes.
it's that in school play it's actually laid out. We had I forgot to ask about the Lila character, but I guess you asked two in one question. But you had this Miss Perfect character, which basically
Hmm.
was like somewhat perfect in every way. But do you think she exposed a flaw when she kind of manipulated Helga to tell him to tell
Oh,
her
I know. That's
about
a
his
that's
yeah
a wonderful scene. The scene where Helga's in Lila's room and has to tell that she loves Arnold is one of my favorite scenes ever. Because Lila is Lila's forcing her to tell, and she's doing it in a really fake innocent way, and it's really it's funny and weird and I love the acting in that scene. I think both of them are being hilarious. Franny and Lila are both being really funny, and the way it was storyboarded was great. It's a really good board. It's a really funny scene, and in the end, Helga says, because if you do tell, I I forget what she says, like I'll break your neck or something like that. And
Yeah.
Lila, just for a moment, Lila looks terrified, and I think it's really funny because she just manipulated her into doing this, and now she's realizing, shit.
I don't think we can put that on air, but still.
Anyway, I really love that scene.
Okay, let's move on to season 4, and there's a few episodes I want to point out here. This one I definitely want to point out. This is the episode with Dr. Bliss in Helga on the
Oh, right.
Couch. I
Yeah,
mean, this
that
was
one was
the
neat.
this was basically the in-depth per character analysis of Helga, pretty much. I mean,
Uh-huh.
who came up with that particular episode, and basically, it was a somewhat pretty dark way to go down, really, given that she's
Yeah.
being exposed to all
Yeah.
pretty much the
Yeah, that
negatives
was.
in her life.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on.
Oh, that was my script, and I really wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it because I just thought it would be. I thought it would be really good to get to the bottom of what Helga's motivations were, and really do an analysis of her character. And Kathy Baker is the actor who played Dr. Bliss, and she's a neighbor of mine, and an actress that I really like. And I thought, oh, she'd be perfect because
Really? Like, did you just
she's
what? Did you just pop your head over the fence? Like, hey, do you want to play a Hey Arnold character? Or...
and yeah, and I knew I think our kids went to the same preschool. In fact, I'd known Kathy for that long, and so it was one of those things where her kids were the same age as my kids, and my kids were like Katie was about, I don't know, 3 when the show started, and Matt was 6, and so both of my kids grew up with that show going on in their life all the time.
I was like, Casey played the young Helga in Helga on the
That's
Couch,
right.
didn't
That's
she? Yeah.
right. Katie was about 6 then, and she played baby Helga, and that was really fun for her. And yeah, the whole thing was very inside. I mean, at that point, it was weird. I was into. I mean, we were 4 seasons in. I'd done probably more than 100 stories by then, and it just was kind of. It is like the feedback loop of it, where my relationship with the actors and their contributions to the characters, and a long time working with the same group of writers and artists, it just got more and more kind of inside, and it was really becoming, the show was commenting about itself, and I felt like we'd seen Helga acting out for so long, and we knew so much about her from the subtext of what she was telling us or not telling us, that I thought it would be cool to have her just really confess. And also, the payoff had to be another one. Like it was actually kind of another version of what she did with Lila. Remember, she just like explodes and tells Lila how much she loves Arnold in a huge like gush of emotion.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it even bigger. And so Jim Lang's score, I think, is really funny at the end when she finishes. He plays a giant E chord on the piano, just like the end
Yeah.
of the Beatles' Day in the Life. And
I tell you what, if there was one person if I could have like, if my life could have if I could have background music, Jim Lang would have to write it.
Well, I'll tell him that. Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, another, I would say, Franny, who plays Helga, is one of the show's secret weapons, and Jim Lang is another. Jim's scores are so good. And, I just have to say, I mean, it's a long time now since I made Hey Arnold, and when I look at it now, I find it so kind of emotional and sort of almost like embarrassingly so. Like I feel like these are diary pages of mine that everybody can look at, and
Yeah.
I almost break out in a sweat watching some of these shows. Helga on the Couch, the school play, the opera, I don't know, any of the ones that are really emotional. Parents'
Yeah.
Day, those shows, they seem really really like heartbreaking to me. And when I watch them, I go, why was I doing that? Why did I do that? And honestly, we just had this opportunity to do the series, and it was working. And for whatever reason, it kind of wasn't a very conventional cartoon show, because it was more about some kind of emotional authenticity was what we were going for.
Yeah.
And Jim Lang, he and I would talk about the score, and I'd say, all right, let him have it, man. This is a really really emotional scene. I want it to be. I want the score to be really poignant and kind of beautiful and sad. the scene, like, I don't know, Arnold's Thanksgiving when they go to Mr. Simmons' house,
Yeah.
and it's just a train wreck, and they're all yelling and fighting, and Arnold and Helga go into the kitchen and talk about it.
Yeah.
The score to that, when they're in the kitchen,
Oh, I remember that
and they
now.
they
Oh
realize,
yeah.
they both go, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I was wondering.
and they
I actually,
realize that,
I was actually asking. I was wondering why did I kind of like click at that moment, and I just realized, wait a minute, the music just changed, and basically
yeah,
and Jim Lang just won it. He won it. He really did.
yeah, yeah. I can't say enough about his scores. My favorites are the ones that are really, really kind of heartbreaking, and it's because he's really good.